Many years ago, I was invited to a weekend seminar, and to get free tickets, I volunteered, or I should say, I sold myself to the organizer as a guy who could speak and speak at the seminar and talk about how I got above average returns investing. Now, had I told him what I was going to talk about, like more than double your money every year, they'd have thought it was some kind of a scam. But it isn't a scam, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I would earn, well, infinity on very little investment. Okay, here we go. Uh, in every state of the USA, and probably in most foreign countries, every few years there will be what they call a tax sale. And this will be the sale of property where taxes haven't been paid for many years, and the public is invited to bid. And usually uh, you bid something, and the old owners have a short time to redeem, but they have to pay you a very big interest, like 20% a year. And a lot of people think, oh, 20% a year is a nice return. In my case, I'm hoping that the people don't ever redeem. And here is what happened in a couple of cases. First of all, my idea was this long list of many pages came up, maybe 1,000 properties, and I would just simply bid $10 on every single property. Okay. The net result usually was I won maybe 2/3 of the property because nobody wanted all these little useless slivers, and the people that bid big money sometimes were on $1 million homes where the owner just hadn't paid taxes for 20 years, and the taxes were over $1 million. So somebody would bid $500,000, big money, and have the right to this $1 million home. And usually another guy would come in and redeem and pay him the 20% interest. Okay, in my case, uh, every time I won, maybe 700 properties, it was like a grab bag. I would have to go to the property, which was never described as 123 Main Street. No, it was always uh, Section 4 of Lot 17 of Mason and Grand subdivision of Dingle, 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 Marin County, California. So in one case, this is one of my more interesting stories. I I won for $10 a lot that was described as a waterfront lot in one of the most expensive uh, oceanfront cities in California. 1 meter by 3,000 meters. Now, what kind of a lot is only 1 meter? It's like the size of a, well, I can't maybe see it in the camera, but anyway, the size of a doorway, but this is about a meter. Okay, so I took my map out, and you have usually a starting point. There's usually a surveyor's mark or a street corner, and so I took a walk in this oceanfront exclusive. It was a commercial area, and I walked, and everything was built up. There were no empty lots. But remember, this was 1 meter by 3,000. It didn't say that the 3,000 was on the waterfront, so I assumed it must have been the 1 meter, right? Okay, the size of a door. So I walked very carefully, and then between two big buildings, there was a door. And it was an old beat up door. So I gave it a little kick, and it opened up, and I saw before me 1,000 meters of tomato plants. Can you believe that? In a very busy subdivision, whew, or I should say commercial area. And I said, well, this is it. For $10, I've got 1,000 meter lot of tomato plants. Well, I don't know if that would be a good business, the tomato business, but the truth is, On all these little slivers of land, I was usually able to sell them to the adjoining owner. But in this case, because the tomato plants were cultivated, they were really nice rows, somebody was in that property already and taking care of it. And so I would have not, he might have had a better claim as an adverse possessor. Maybe he'd been farming it for 20 years. He would have had a better claim to the land than I did. So I walked up, it was an old stairway to a church that had been on top of the hill 100 years earlier. Crazy, huh? The old church was now a building, but the little 1 meter by 3,000 meter lot was still there. It was the stairway had long deteriorated, but there was tomato plants, and I found an old guy picking tomatoes. Hey, I said to him, "Hey, is this your land?" He said, "No, I just been farming it for a long time. Nobody else seemed to want it." And I said, "Well, you know what? I'm the landlord. I'm the owner of that land. I'll tell you what. If you give me 1 bucket of tomatoes rent every year, I will let you use it until I have a better use for the land." Well, the guy said, "Oh, okay." And I had a little scribble. I made a little lease. And here comes why it's good to be a lawyer. A tenant can never deny his landlord's title. That's an old common law rule. So now if this guy ever did have any adverse possession claim, now he didn't, because he acknowledged that he was my tenant. Got it? Okay, that's why it's kind of valuable to go to law school. You'll learn a lot of good stuff there. Okay, to make a long story short, in this particular property, I went to the owners of the properties on either side. And it turns out, like in most cities, the zoning allows you to put up an extra story if you got enough land next to it to do that. And the 3,000 meters was just enough to put an extra story on either building. Hey, guess what? I could have asked for a lot more. And in today's money market, I would say I could have had $1 million. But in that time, I got only a mere $100,000 on my $10 investment. Now, when these bankers are arguing, I can get you 6% or I can get you 6.2%, hey, how about 1,000% or 10,000% on your money? And so that's my first story.